Hi, this is Josh from Bellows. Welcome to the third episode of Mistakes that Self-Taught Accordion Players Make. I will add a link to the other episodes in the description below. In this episode, we are going to look at something called pulsing. And this is a problem that is related to the bellows technique. Before I tell you what pulsing is, let me show you. And you'd have noticed that there was something that was definitely not right with that performance, and that was because my bellows movement was not smooth. So I was playing this song in a waltz rhythm, right? So I was basically doing bass, chord, chord. So that's what I was doing for the rhythm all the time. Bass, chord, chord, bass, chord, chord. And at the same time, I was playing a melody on the right hand that wasn't always going 3/4 notes at a time. So the problem that I had with my bellows technique here, which is called as pulsing, is that I was adding the rhythm to the bellows instead of my fingers. So let me play like a single note on the left hand and also the rhythm on the left hand. And I have to keep the 3/4 timing on my fingers and not the fingers on the left hand and not on the bellows. So I have to apply constant pressure to the bellows, and with that we can eliminate that pulsing that you hear when you listen to the song. So this is with pulsing again. So you're basically listening to the treble sound, which is not very musical. And you could sometimes add accents to notes like that using the bellows, but that has to be very intentional, and it has to be at select places where you actually want that accent and not on every single beat. So in order to eliminate that pulsing, you got to apply a constant pressure on the bellows no matter what you're doing on the left hand. So even if your left hand is not doing anything at all, you have to still apply constant pressure on the bellows so that the notes on the right hand can play. And even if you're playing it super soft. So let me fix the pulsing now, right? So I'm going to apply constant pressure to the bellows, and I am going to play that rhythm using my fingers and not using the bellows, using my elbows and shoulders, but the rhythm only resides here. So and you could hear the difference, right? So with pulsing, it's going to be. So it's like that stop and go motion on the left hand. And sometimes even if you don't really listen to the audio, you could tell that by just watching the video with how the bellows are moving. So and nobody plays it that bad. So I just wanted to like exaggerate that problem so that you could easily hear it, but usually you'll hear it like this. Which is not as bad as, but it's still there, right? And when that is always there on your song, it just brings down the level of performance and makes the song less enjoyable. For somebody that did not start out with the accordion and who has already trained with other musical instruments like a piano or something, this is not super intuitive. You might be playing something that's complex and advanced and nice using your right hand, and if you do this with your left hand, and I do notice like a lot of beginners doing that. I myself had that problem, not to the degree that I demonstrated, but I still had that problem. And when I actually got an in-person teacher, that was the first thing that he pointed out, and he told me to like fix that right away. And I'm glad that he did, because my performances actually got much better after that. Sometimes I still have that problem, and that happens whenever I'm like focusing too much on something. I'm playing something like too hard, and I'm thinking about the notes that I do that stop and go motion on the bellows, and the pulsing comes back. And whenever I do that, I have two teachers right now, and both the teachers point that out right away. But this is definitely something that is worth the time to like go back, put in the time, and fix the problem. So I'm gonna play the same song now without pulsing, and I hope it sounds better, and I hope I was able to like eliminate my pulsing problem with all of the practice that I've done. So that doesn't mean that you have to always play the song at a fixed volume, right? You can still do phrasing where each phrase could like gradually get louder and taper off, like something like this. So that time I didn't really play it all at the same volume, right? I still had that minimum constant pressure on the bellows, and on top of that you could always like go louder and then come back softer, and you can add like more dynamics. The pulsing problem especially becomes like more obvious when you're playing it too soft. It's hard to do get the sound without pulsing when you're playing something like really soft, like for example. So when you're doing that, it's harder, because whatever small amount of pulsing that you have, since the baseline bellows pressure is like already so low and you're playing at a low volume, any small fluctuations that you have in pressure become like more obvious. So it's always a good practice to like be aware of this and fix this. And another reason with which you might get pulsing, which is another problem that I myself have, is because of my exaggerated motion in my left hand, where I actually bang in the buttons so hard. So when I do that, that introduces some pulsing into the instrument, because whenever you like shake the instrument or move it, it kind of adds a vibrato. Like check this out. Or check my left hand out this time. So I'm not even playing anything on my left hand, and if I do this, so this adds like some expression and some modulation into the music that you're playing. So if you're like hitting your fingers so hard into the instrument, that also creates pulsing. Now listen to this. So I was hitting the buttons so hard, I was lifting the fingers up very high, and I was hammering it. And for an instrument like the accordion, this is completely unnecessary, and it is also something that is harmful to the musicality of your performance. And this is a problem that I still have, because I've been playing like this for several years, and it's super hard for me to go back and fix this, and I have to be absolutely thinking about that to fix it. And if I start thinking about the notes that I'm playing or something else, I just revert back and start hitting the bass button so hard. So as somebody that suffers from this problem myself, my word of advice would be to like not develop this habit at all. And I would understand that if somebody that's a piano player that has this problem, because pianists get their dynamics based on how hard they hit the keys, but it is not the case with the accordion. You can still like hit the buttons so soft like this and get it louder using the bellows. And if I do soft bellows and if I bang it on, it's still gonna be soft. So the way that you hit your fingers don't really do anything to the dynamics, and it's the same with the right hand. And that is unnecessary motion, and economy of motion is something that is always super important no matter what instrument you play. You don't need to have movements that are not necessary so that you could move your fingers faster to the place that they need to be. And this will definitely show up as a problem when you're trying to play things that are more complicated and more faster. So if you have not already developed this habit, all good for you. If you're a beginner that just started to play, and if you have any of these problems, now is the time to go back and fix this. And I will have more episodes for the series Mistakes that Self-Taught Accordion Players Make. And I hope that you found this video useful. I'll also give a link to the entire playlist, and subscribe to my channel if you're interested in accordion content. Like I post all sorts of content, from reviews for instruments, suggestions on playing technique, and tutorials for songs, and also performances of songs that I've learned. Until the next video, I hope you have a great time.